Are you begging for your breakthrough? Are you begging for your breakthrough? We are talking about, are you begging for your breakthrough? Now we have a biblical basis, and I want you to just go to James chapter 1, Brother James. And in verse 2, it reads as follows. Consider it a great joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you experience various trials, because you know that the testing of your faith produces endurance, underline endurance, and let endurance have its full effect so that you may be mature and complete, lacking nothing. I'm going to read this one more time for the people in the back. It's talking about trials and maturity. James chapter 1 verse 2 reads as follows. Consider it a great joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you experience various trials, because you know that the testing of your faith produces endurance. And let endurance have its full effect so that you may be mature and complete, lacking nothing. Now, the title of this message is, are you begging for your breakthrough? I want to talk about this in context with James chapter 1, verse 2. During recent conversations I've had with other women, this season, the season that they've recently come out of, the season that they've recently gone into, they are struggling, but they are struggling and operating in a silo. Right now, some women are thinking that what they're experiencing is a bit too heavy for them right now, and they're praying to God for their breakthrough. Lord, this has been, it's enough. I'm ready for you to show up. I'm ready for you to fulfill your promises in my life right now in this season. But here's the thing. Some people are trying to rush God to move when he's still doing a refining process in your life. He's still pruning layers off you. He's still molding you, refining your mindset, getting you to a place of full surrender. And so if you are trying to rush God's process for you, you actually may be forfeiting what God is actually attempting to prepare you for. What exactly do I mean? How could I possibly be forfeiting what God has for me? Here's the thing. During the refining process where God is helping you see things from a fresh perspective, where he is helping you dismantle belief blockers that have been interfering with you becoming who God has predestined you to be for far too long, when he is showing you, revealing to you the habits, the unhealthy habits that no longer serve you in the season you're in or the season God is calling you and inviting you into, or if God is doing something in you so that you can become disciplined in your decision making, not lukewarm, not 1 foot in and 1 foot out, but becoming disciplined in your decision making. If you try to rush this process, you are moving out of alignment with God. You are moving out of step with God. Sometimes you find yourself quitting prematurely. The same thing can occur if you try and outpace God. And I want you to underline the word try, because it will never be successful when we try to outpace God. I recently shared a post talking about fear and faith cannot occupy the same space. And I wrote a detailed caption. I just want to share that with you here. In the context of, are you begging for your breakthrough rather than tarrying right where God has you in this season? I want you to begin to consider why you're actually trying to rush your process. I want you to actually do the work to get to the root of why you're not willing to allow God to be at work within you. I've been in the situation. I would tell you why I'm able to have this discussion with you. It's because I've lived it. I have tried to outpace God. I've tried to advance before God was telling me to move. I've tried to take steps 3, 4, and 5 when God only told me to take step 1. If you can resonate with that, just share, just like this, just put a heart in here. So when it comes to this unsettling and trying to outpace God, I am adamant that it comes down to fear. And what I was talking about in this video is that most people battle with a fear of failure or a fear of success. This fear of failure is not achieving a particular goal. The fear of success is not knowing what is on the other side of your obedience to God. And so I want you to take some time to just think about, well, which one is it for you? If it's neither, bless you. But for many of us in the room, especially the high achieving women, if we have some fellas in the room, hey there fellas, but this one's for the ladies. For the high achieving women, the recovering perfectionists, I'm talking to you. Would you say that you have a fear of failure or a fear of success? The reason why I want you to take inventory of this is because if you can identify which fear you actually face, your process can become smoother as you submit to God, surrender to His will for your life, and trust Him to lead the way. So let's break this down a little bit further. Faith and fear cannot occupy the same space. If you are someone who believes that you have been stepping out in your faith, this may be the case. You very well may be stepping out in faith. So fear cannot occupy this same space. And if this is true, what are you really feeling? If there's any resistance, if there's any apprehension to be obedient to God, to wait until He tells you to move, if it's not fear, what are you really feeling? I challenge you, if you're thinking that you're feeling fear, and I would propose to you to ask yourself, what are you experiencing? You see, when you step out in faith, you're relinquishing your control back to the one who gave you the vision in the first place. When you relinquish control back to God, you've allowed God to get into the driver's seat, and you have hopped into the back passenger seat where your view is obstructed and you can't tell God where you think you should go. It's a reminder that God has your best interest in mind at all times because He has already gone before you to prepare your path. And so I want to just allow this to serve as a reminder that you are simply navigating a new season. And sometimes people think new is hard or new is scary. And that's when we try to say, I'm afraid of X. But inside of this new and exciting season, this is sometimes where we can't explain something. And when this happens, what our brain tries to do is it tries to rationalize and make sense of things. And so the thing that we grasp to is that I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of the failure. I don't know what God is going to do if I say yes to Him. So I'm going to wait. I'm just going to wait it out a little bit longer. When you are not operating in your purpose, you're not just robbing yourself. You're interfering with the breakthroughs of others. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. When you are not operating in obedience, you are not just interfering with your process. You are interfering with the breakthroughs of others. And allow this to arrest you. Allow this to convict you so that you are in a position to be sensitive to the Holy Spirit and hear God more clearly. In this new season, you don't know exactly where you're headed. And maybe, just maybe, you have been lost before, and that's why you think it's scary. And that is why, again, you ascribe the word fear to the experience in which you're having. But when you realize that it's just new and it doesn't warrant the fear factor, your guard goes down. And when your guard goes down, this is surrender. And when you get into a state of full surrender, you're in a better position to trust God through your learning and growth process. As we're having this discussion of are you begging for your breakthrough, I want us to return to James chapter 1, verse 2. When we're experiencing trials and growing in spiritual maturity, James tells us to consider it a joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you experience various trials, because you know that the testing of your faith produces endurance. And let endurance have its full effect so that you may be mature and complete, lacking nothing. In this next season, you may be praying for your breakthrough, but I encourage you, rather than praying for your breakthrough, I encourage you to get into position to surrender and allow God to do a transformative work within your heart and within your mind. Over time, as you continue to learn and grow in spiritual maturity, the breakthrough will appear. In this season, I know you are praying for something specific, but I want you to remain dialed into God, trusting the longevity of God's process for you.